LiberalViewer presents.
So over on Face the Nation, Bob Scheiffer had on Mike Morell, who used to be deputy director of the CIA and was also on the commission that made recommendations to President Obama on how to fix the problems with NSA spying. And one of their recommendations was to take the bulk phone record collection program out of the government's hands and keep those records with the phone companies. Mike Morell and also Michael Hayden were both over on Face the Nation, and they said some interesting things, especially about the difference between what President Obama proposed and what's coming out of the House Intelligence Committee, the Republican-controlled House Intelligence Committee. First, I'll show Michael Morell over in this clip.
Well, people know.
So this is exactly what the review group recommended, which is that the government will no longer hold the data, and that anytime NSA wants to query that data, that they will require a court order. There is a competing proposal from the House Intelligence Committee, which is that the phone companies will also hold the data, but that court review will not happen before, it will happen later. I'm comfortable with that. I think we're headed in the right direction here, and I think there'll be some sort of compromise between the President's proposal, which again is consistent with the review group, and the House Intelligence Committee's proposal. They're very, very close to each other.
General,
So yeah, there's some an interesting contrast between what President Obama's proposed and what's in the House Intelligence Committee. But what was actually really scary about the differences between the two proposals came out when Bob Scheiffer asked Michael Hayden. He is actually saying, if you listen, that if what they go for is what the House Intelligence Committee is proposing, it would actually give the NSA some greater spying capabilities than the capabilities they have under the current program, as you can see over in this clip.
Michael suggests there's powerful convergence between what the President is suggesting and what the House Intelligence Committee has actually embodied in legislation.
Explain to me what difference does it make?
Now, here's what's happening, all right? NSA would get billing records on a daily basis from the American telecom providers. But over time, the percentage of overall billing records that NSA was retrieving got smaller and smaller. Michael's panel pointed out that they're only getting about a third, if that, just because of changes in technology. But NSA held them. And a lot of civil libertarians were concerned about that, not because that had been abused, but because of the potential for abuse. So what we get now is NSA doesn't hold it. The telephone companies hold it, but NSA gets to query the data, and here they get to query the data in an exhaustive way, not that 1/3 they formerly got. And beyond that, if you look at the language in the House bill, it actually talks about all communication. So in this sense, NSA is able to query not just telephone metadata, but digital or email metadata too. So I think we've arrived at a solution that actually makes us more safe, but gives people higher comfort that the government would not potentially abuse
But
it.
how?
So yeah, what Michael Hayden, and they showed he was former NSA director Michael Hayden, was saying there is something I hadn't heard anywhere else, that first of all, that under the current system they're only getting about a third of the phone records because of the way they do the record keeping. But if they were able to query all the records from the phone company, they'll now have access to the metadata from all the phone records, and they'll also have access to all the digital data. They'll be able to query all of it, the emails, and I assume that includes text messages, which will be metadata, won't be the content of emails and text messages, but it will be who is texting whom and what time it was, and the both locations, and you can get a lot of information even without the content if you have those just that metadata. So I thought that was kind of disturbing, but I want to know what you think. Is this proposed NSA spying reform actually a good first step? And specifically, is the increase in court supervision worth the increase in government access to communications data?
YouTube, you decide.